everybody, Mark here from MetaTailor, and today we're jumping into the Fantasy Dark Knight character. Now, you might be saying, Mark, we've already seen this. We saw the whole live video where you did this. And yes, this is actually the day before. I am getting the actual files ready for the live stream. And I thought, why not show you what I'm doing? In the live stream, it would take up a lot of time, and we're just going to take a look at the finished product. But some of you may be interested in the steps I took to get it ready for MetaTailor. So I wanted to create a video just walking you through how I tackle it in Maya and create everything to be MetaTailor ready and what that means. So join me in Maya. We're going to take a look at this and let's get it ready. So here I am in Maya, and I'm going to import this file, import, and I'm going to go to my desktop and grab my Dark Knight file for tonight. It has male and female, but we don't need the female files. I'm going to keep them there in case I need them for any kind of future use, but because MetaTailor is amazing, this will work on any avatar once we get it loaded. So I'm going to open up the mail right here and jump into UE5, and there's a whole bunch of options in here. You can grab the individual armor, boots, gauntlets, helmet, pants, and stuff like that, but all of those have a skeleton attached, and it's kind of messy. So I'm going to stick with just the full thing with the sword and break it up myself to make it ready for tonight's use. I'll go ahead and hit import and bring the whole thing in. So here you can see everything is ready to go. However, if you take a look at this upper group, you'll notice that the rotate value is set to -90. So that is meaning it is already turned into, or it's got the UE rotations to bring it into Maya correctly, so the up axis is Y. So we just need to freeze rotations on that. Before we can do that, as with any FBX that's brought in from Unreal or kind of skinned and weighted, all of our translate values, rotate values in the actual files themselves are locked. So you'll notice I've highlighted everything here. I can even probably grab this sword too. I've highlighted everything here, and I'm going to unlock all of these values by highlighting them, right-clicking, and choosing Unlock Selected. Now, everything I'm doing, I'm going to have to hit it one more time, Unlock Selected, there it goes. Everything I'm doing, you can absolutely do in Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, whatever your program is, there are ways to do this. I'm just showing you how to do it in Maya because that's the system I'm most comfortable in. All right, so all of those are set. I'm going to grab my root right here. I don't need the skeleton because we're not bringing this as an avatar. I'll hit Delete. And then now with all of that set, I can go to this top group and hit my Modify Freeze Transformations, which will freeze my rotation value. And then I can unparent all of these from that group and start making my own groups. So I will delete that. All right, so we've got our sword. That's pretty much good to go. I don't need to create its own group for that, so I'll just hide the sword for now. And now you'll notice we've got the boots. And now I have to decide, all right, how high up do I want these boots? Do I want to include these knee parts? Do I want to include the pants? Taking a look at it, these pants and these knees can be connected, but these knees and these boots can't really be connected. So really, it's just going to be these boots. And I'll hit Control-1 and isolate those, and let's take a look at these boots. So we have a pair of 2 boots, which we don't really need. We can always delete 1 boot. So I'm going to go to my face mode, and I'm going to delete this entire boot right here and get rid of all those faces. So we're just working with 1 boot. We only ever need to import 1 boot, and then we can mirror it over in MetaTailor. The other thing I need to change with this boot is you will notice that this top part right here has a face. And that face will get crushed in MetaTailor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 1 face here and grow my selection, and I can get rid of these couple of faces right here along the edge so that my selection is just this wheel. And then I'll hit delete. And there we go. And I can see all the way down and inside. And now this boot is appropriate for MetaTailor. This boot will work in MetaTailor. I can turn on my textures. Are any of my textures loaded? Nope, none of my textures are loaded. So it doesn't save us time there, but at least it is ready to go in that way. We can go to the helmet. I'll hit unisolate, look at our helmet, hit Control-1. And this one kind of has the same thing. It's got all of these faces down here. I'll go to vertex, and then let's go ahead and convert my selection to faces. There we go. And then I'll delete. I don't know if that feature is available in every 3D program. You can see I kind of grew my selection and stuff like that, but you just want to get rid of those faces. Now, without these textures, I don't know if I need to get rid of this visor slit right here. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get some textures added on here. Taking a look at Maya's texture window, we've got the helmet and we've got a color file. So let's go ahead and hit the color. Let's go to File, and let's add a quick color file to this helmet. Go to Desktop, Dark Knight, Textures, Unreal Engine, Sword, Gauntlets, Helmet, Albedo, and hit Open. We can turn on our textures, and there it is. It looks really cool. It's got this black matte kind of face to it, so if I grab like this piece right here, I can isolate that out. If you wanted to, you have the option to delete this. You could delete this so you can see your eyes through it. I kind of like that closed off visor, but that's up to you. So if you want to delete that, you can. I think for tonight's stream, I'm going to keep that in. But you have that option. But yeah, that's looking really cool. You can add normal maps and everything else to it. This shows our gorget right here, kind of the neck piece. I believe that's a gorget. Yes, I was right. That's called a gorget. All right, so we've got that piece right there. That's looking really neat. And while we're in here, I guess we could probably throw in a couple of these other textures just so it looks cool. So not only are the textures look cool, sometimes it does help us with our decision making on what we cut and what we don't cut. So we've got our helmet. That's ready to go. Let's take a look at our neck piece. It's got a hole all the way through. That's all I'm really looking for. So I can let's take a look. Do I want to keep that with this piece? I think I do. Let's take a look at these two pieces right here. I think I want to bring these into MetaTailor as one piece. I don't think I want to split these off. So I'm going to grab the neck and the cloak, or is it cape? It's neck and cape, and I'm going to group those together, and I'll call that neck. And we'll combine those in a little bit, but that way those are together, and then this can sit on top of that. We've got this and this rope right here. We want those two to be together. So I can group those and call that, I'm going to call that, where are you? Group those, there we go, and call that cloak. And hide that group. All right, we've got our pauldrons right here. These pauldrons are identical. So just like with our boots, I can take these pauldrons and delete half and have this pauldron right here. And that's ready to go, just one pauldron. Let's take a look. We've got our belt. That belt can be used for multiple characters. I really like this belt, so I will keep this belt as its own piece. If it had kind of like painted on textures down here or contact shadows that were baked into the armor, I might keep the belt with the armor. But overall, I like the look of that belt, so we can bring that in separately. Let's see. Our coutures, or the elbow pieces. Now see, with these, I don't know if I want to bring these in on their own. So let's go to our gauntlets. All right, so our gauntlets are going to pose an interesting thing as well. If we want our fingers to have like a glove, work as a glove, we need to split these gauntlets up. So for the coutures, the gauntlets, and the armor, I'm going to take a moment and hide those, and let's focus on this part right here. The pants are pretty easy. If you wanted these knee pads to be separate, you could delete it like the pauldron, but I'm just going to keep these as part of the pants. So I'm going to take both of these, and I can select both of these, and I can combine them. That way they are one mesh. And then we got to go to these vertices right here on the bottom, and I can grab this one on the top and delete these caps. So I'll go back to my two faces, grab those faces that are down there, and hit delete. So now our pants are open and ready for MetaTailor. It's combined. These are ready to go. So I can just hide those pants. All right, coming back to, if I do that, I also want to hit edit, delete all by type history. This is something in Maya that allows you to kind of get rid of all those excess nodes. So now we're back to our gauntlets, our coutures, and our armor. We have to decide, all right, what do we want to split off? So a couple things. If you wanted to split off this kind of bottom cape and have that be its own piece, you could do that. If you wanted this to act like a skirt, you would go to faces and you'd select all of these faces. And you can see I'm kind of grabbing in a straight line here so I can grow that selection. And once you get close, you just want to double check and make sure everything is good. And it is. I'll just kind of grab some of these over here. I'm making sure I'm going in a downward motion to grab all these. Make sure I'm not grabbing anything accidentally on the rest. All right, so if I wanted to split this off, I could do that. I could extract these faces, and now I've got this top part and this bottom part, which is helpful. So now I can go ahead and take this out, call this the skirt, or the kilt, or I'll call it kilt. We'll make it a little bit more masculine. We're working on the knight, the masculine knight here. Knights don't wear skirts, they wear kilts. So there we go. So that's split off, and it nicely made a hole in the bottom for us. I'll just quick double check the kilt. I don't think, yeah, I didn't think it had a cap at the bottom, and I just wanted to verify that. So that's looking good. Now, because this armor and these sleeves are one piece, I would not try to take this shirt out from the armor. I'm going to keep those two together. I will delete this hole right here by going to two faces, and get rid of that cap right there. I think I want to keep these elbow pieces as part of the armor. I don't want to bring them in their own separate and have them move separately, so I will combine these two. And now I can hit Control 1, and you can see there is all of that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my vertex and grab this vertex and this vertex right here on both sides, and go to faces, and delete those faces. And so now this shirt is pretty good. But like I said, if I wanted these gauntlets to have the fingers be movable, move those fingers, I got to remove those hands. So now we have the option of, all right, do we want these gauntlets attached to the shirt and as part of the shirt? Or do we want these to be their own separate bracers? That is entirely up to you. In past live streams, I have made these bracers their own separate thing. But for this and for the ease of tonight's stream, I think I'm going to keep these attached to the armor. I think it will look good attached to the armor. So all we need to do is split off our hands. So what I'm going to do is I can delete one of the hands entirely. I can go into face mode. I can take all these faces and delete this hand entirely because we'll mirror over the gauntlet. Once we have one hand in, it'll do it for both hands. Let's go to edge right here. Can I grab an edge loop? I cannot. Because it's triangles, I'm not a huge fan of triangles. I might be old-fashioned in my dislike of triangles. I'm always a quad kind of guy because quads let you clean it up and you can get nicer, cleaner meshes that way. But like I said, that's just me. I'm old-fashioned. All right, so you can see I've started growing my selection. I'm watching to make sure my selection doesn't go too far, and it is a little bit right here, so I'll just make sure I'm deselecting these faces along the edge right here, because really that's where I want my hand to stop. Hit delete, and kind of get this selection right here, and this is where it gets a little tricky. I want to grow this selection, grow, delete. Just checking that edge. You can see I've got a couple faces here. And I'm being meticulous. If you wanted to be a little bit more rough and ready with this, you absolutely could. You could leave some of these faces in here. Just remember that's data that MetaTailor is looking at. That's something that MetaTailor is trying to skin to your mesh. And you don't necessarily want that. But there we go. Now that's split off. We've deleted that hand right there. A little bit cleaner, a little bit easier. This side, I'm going to approach it a little differently. This side, I kind of know where I need to split it. I know right here at this edge is kind of my aim point. So I'm thinking I can tackle this in an interesting way. And I might fast forward through this part. I'll try to be quiet so I can fast forward this part, and then I will tell you what I did afterward. All right, so I grabbed all those faces in that loop. It looks like I just missed two there and grabbed them here instead. So I grabbed all those faces in that loop. So I've got this loop right here, and now I can actually split this off. Let's take this and do extract faces, make that its own piece. That way, I now can go to face mode and grab just that hand, and I can now split that off by hitting extract faces. And now I have my gauntlet right here that we can attach as a hand piece. So I'll take that out, hit Control H to hide that. And now I've got this ring here and this part right here that are now separated. So all I have to do is now combine these back together. So I will hit combine, and I'll go to vertex mode. And now I have to just merge these vertices, because if you if I hit smooth preview, it creates some holes, which we don't want to create holes. So I'm going to select all these vertices, and I'm going to go to merge vertices, and to make sure I'm not accidentally doing anything wrong, I'm going to drop that threshold down really small. That way, when I smooth this, it's a much cleaner division right there. They are all merged properly. And now I have these two parts right here. Like I said, I'm going to combine those with my shirt. And now I've got my shirt ready to go. Let's go ahead and unhide everything we can find. That way I can make sure we delete history on anything that we don't need. So I'll grab everything right here and hit delete history on it. We've got our cloak right here. We'll take this one that we are not seeing. Somehow in the process, we lost our cloak. I'll bring that back in just a second, but I'm kind of taking our neck right here. We'll combine that piece. So those are combined, and we can delete history on that. We can look at our armor, select our armor, delete history on that. We can open up our gauntlets. Those are all set. So now let's go ahead and just select all these pieces here, delete history one more time. And so we're all clean. The only thing I have to go in and find is that cloak. So I'll just take all of you and call you our Dark Knight sword, Dark Knight boot, Dark Knight helmet, Dark Knight pauldron, Dark Knight belt, Dark Knight pants, Dark Knight kilt. You are now the Dark Knight. Oh, I gotta combine you and you now. Combine. Dark Knight chest. Dark Knight gauntlet. Dark Knight. I'll call it neck. I won't call it a gorget. Neck. Keep it simple. All right, so this character is 99% ready for MetaTailor. I just have to export all of these out. And let's quick, I renamed all that so I could import the cape really quick. Mail, we've got armor, boots, sword, gauntlet, helmet. Let's grab the armor. So we can see right here, here's everything all again. We can delete the root, isolate this piece, grab you two, unparent, and delete the rest. Control 1. It did that because the group is just like before. All these pieces are locked at the Unreal Engine translations. So now we can grab you, hit freeze rotations. And now if I take those out, our cloak and our robe, they're fine. Fine. And we'll give you your texture back. All right, there it all is. So like I said, we'll go through piece by piece. File, export selection, live FBXs. DK helmet. And that's it. Hopefully you can go back and watch that live stream, watch us actually get this character applied in MetaTailor, have it jump between avatars, and kind of see all the neat things we're able to do with it. But there is our Dark Knight character, and that's all it takes to get it ready. You delete those caps, and you decide what pieces you want to combine together to kind of turn into a shirt, pants. You saw I wanted to take the kilt off separately so you can apply that and layer it properly. Those are all options you have available to you to create a really cool looking character. That's it for right now. See y'all later. Go get dressed.